Welcome in, everybody. This is going to be a first for me. Hopefully, I don't have to make too many of those. I wanted this channel to be mostly positive, to celebrate video games and nerd stuff that I'm really into, comics and the MCU and the upcoming DCEU. But this drama is really taking YouTube by storm, and I have quite a bit of experience with Honey, so I felt it was not just a good idea, but my responsibility to weigh in on this. Um, I would have felt like a coward if I didn't say anything. So, yeah, let's jump into it. I've pulled up a video that I think will be pretty illuminating. I had to turn off the sound to it, copyright audio and music and all that stuff, but hopefully you'll still get the gist of it, okay? And I'll explain what's going on bit by bit. So let's pull up that video. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got Honey right at the front, right? Front and center, literally, is the Honey. We're gonna go back a little bit. We've got depending on your perspective, the protagonist or the antagonist right here, right? We're gonna go forward, we're gonna go forward. You know, you love John Cleese and you just hate to see him be caught up in any kind of drama. And so we're back to the original part. And here's the Honey. And like I said, I have a lot of experience with Honey, actually. I've worked with it a lot in the past. Uh, I like it on my nut Cheerios. I like it to dip fried chicken in sometimes. Sometimes you don't want it spicy. You want it to be a little sweet. So a good honey can go a long way. If it's a more natural honey that's got like some more flavor to it, a little flowery taste, you can sort of tell the difference between them based on what flowers the bees used. So here again, you can see the protagonist or antagonist depending on. We'll just call him the tagonist. How about that for this video? Make it really easy for us. As you can see, he's already dipping into honey, right? He's already using honey for his own personal gain, or is he? Maybe he's being taken advantage of by the honey. We don't know how addictive this is, and this is probably his honey, and who's to say he shouldn't be able to do what he wants with his own honey in the privacy of his own home, right? That's not for us to judge. So again, the tagonist, here he is. Is this his honey? Is this someone else's honey? We don't know at this point, right? So we can't really make any judgment, and it's a big thing with the internet. It's real easy to make snap judgments, but until you know the full story, you should stay on the sidelines until you get all the details, right? And right now, we don't know how much honey is actually in these jars, right? We don't know how old this honey is. We don't know where it came from. We don't know if it was gifted to him or if he took it. Um, we don't know anything about this situation other than that he's eating the honey right now. Okay. Just keep that in mind. So again, we can here's another thing, right? Your first assumption, right? Because it's the internet, you want to make that knee jerk reaction is he's eating all this at once, but we don't know that, right? Maybe what's happened is this is weeks or months worth of eating, right? Maybe he doesn't keep it in the refrigerator and for some reason he keeps it just near his table. Now, is that kind of gross and dirty? Yeah, but again, if it's not causing any illness and it's not getting in the way of his life, who are we to judge? He's not hurting anybody with this right now, right? Again, it's messy, sure, but we don't know the whole story. It could be maybe he's gluttonous and he sort of poo-beared out on this, right? Pigletted out on it. But also, maybe he's diabetic and he went low, and each of these only had a little bit of honey in them, right? We don't know. So this could have saved his life for all we know right now. Okay, so here he is putting honey on his skin, and you may think, ooh, gross. But why don't you go to the expensive lotion aisle somewhere and see how many of them have like honey as an all natural ingredient listed? Because there's more than one, and sometimes that stuff's pretty pricey. So maybe he's trying to cut out the middleman and save a buck. Maybe he's looking at not big pharma, but big lotion, big makeup, whatever you want to call it. And he said, hey, I can do the same thing at home for a lot less, and he's saving some money. Then again, you know, because I'm not saying what kind of antagonist he is. Maybe what he's done is gathered up all of this guy's honey, right? And he's rubbing it on himself like a Silence of the Lambs kind of thing. It puts the lotion on his skin. And he's just rubbing it all over himself, saying, yeah, look who has the honey now. We don't know. Right now, with the information we have available, we don't know if he's the good guy or the bad guy, right? Sure, he's shaking his hand, but does that mean he's friend? Or maybe this is an intimidating handshake, right? He's trying to put him in his place, you know, that kind of thing. Say, yeah, I've got all the honey and there's nothing you can do about it. We don't know. Or maybe this guy's the supplier of the honey, and maybe he knows this other guy over here in the red shirt has a problem and he's taking advantage of it. This guy could be the bad guy in this situation. We don't know. You always got to get all the information, and we just don't have it right now. So there we see, you know, he's leaving this guy, right? Hold on, go back just a little. And it's really stringy honey, right? So what does that tell us? Not a whole lot, obviously, but usually older honey is less stringy, less goopy. It's a little harder to stretch. I don't know if that makes it more viscous or less viscous. Feel free to leave a comment in the low and educate me on viscosity in honey. We can't tell a lot from this guy's look right here. He mostly just seems curious to me. So again, we don't have enough information to judge. We can tell there's a lot of honey in the background. Now, I will say this, whether he's a pusher or whether the other guy stole the honey from him, they are leaving, whoever is using this honey is leaving a lot of it behind. It is kind of wasteful. Whoever is using the honey is being a little wasteful of it. I think you could probably gather the honey stuck on all these rims and probably get a whole nother quarter jar of honey. Okay, and then, you know, there's more jars here, and look how much honey is still on this back jar. That's a lot of honey, right? That is like 3 or 4 pieces of toast worth of honey right there, just sitting there, that could be scraped up and reused. And here's something interesting, you know, if you don't pay attention, right? Look at this honey jar right here. It's HOA, right? Is how they're spelling honey. But then you go back here, right? And this one's HUN, right? What's this one down here? HUN. HUN. So why is that other one spelled different? Does it mean it's a different product? Is it like a fake honey? Is it corn syrup? We don't know. We don't know the ingredients in any of these. They could say honey and they could be something else that's just dyed yellow. So we skip ahead and we see this guy. Okay, so here's some information, right? We finally got some real concrete information. This is Rabbit's house, right? So what we can't do, it would be real easy, and sometimes you have to make assumptions just because that's how the world works. You don't have time to gather all the information. But you always want to get all the facts if you can. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to assume this is the rabbit in question. It might not be. There are a lot of rabbits in the world, okay? This could be a different rabbit. Maybe these guys broke into this rabbit's house. We don't know for sure. So we skip ahead. Like I said, all we know for sure is this is a rabbit's house. We don't know that the rabbit we've seen is the owner. He could be, he could not be. We can't judge it one way or other. We can't, right? We can't condemn him as a burglar either, right? Because we don't know for sure. And, you know, if you want to go even a little deeper on that sort of line of thought, rabbit could just be a name, right? It doesn't, we don't know if these people are like Pokemon. They could be named after what type of animal they are, or they could have different names. That guy's name could be Fred, and this guy's name could be Rabbit. This could be this guy's house. We don't know. Skip ahead. Say, and then you kind of wonder what's going on here, right? I mean, is he touching him inappropriately? I mean, I wouldn't want to be touched like that without, you know, consent first. We don't know, right? He seems pretty unhappy, doesn't he? Maybe he's not liking that. Okay, and then look, there's a, what is this down here? Is this a rope? Was someone tied up? Was this a kidnapping gone wrong? And you know, that's kind of the headline you would see on like a not a news site. What are they called? Gossip rags, that kind of thing. You know, they would post this picture and say, "Oh, man in red shirt escapes kidnapper," but we don't know that for sure. We have no idea. Was it a kidnapping? Maybe it was some kind of foreplay. We don't know the relationship between these two. Or maybe this guy tried to kidnap this guy and he's getting away. Right? It looked like he was pushing him back here, but who's to say he wasn't really, you know, his face is obviously pushing because of the indent, but maybe he's actually gripping and trying to pull him back in. Maybe he doesn't want him to go. So far, we don't know who's doing what. Are they friends? Are they enemies? Are they lovers? We just don't have all the information. Okay, so what's going on here, right? Like we said, we've already got the rope. This guy's in here. This guy is sitting down, right? But what can we really tell from that other than maybe he's tired, right? And we know there's a top hat up here. Whose top hat is that? Do we think this guy wears a top hat? Do we think the other guy wears a top hat? Or, like we said earlier, is this some other rabbit's house or someone named Rabbit's house and these guys have broken in? Maybe, you know, it's like Zatanna from the DC Comics house and they've come in and robbed all her honey. We don't know yet. Okay, so now he's turning away from that guy. What does that tell us? Not a lot. Not a lot. You could make assumptions, but again, I'm trying not to do that, right? It could be he's feeling guilty and he's turned away, right? It could be he's upset with him and he's turned away. It could be he's got bad knees. Maybe he's arthritic. Maybe he's really old. We don't know yet. Okay, and then so the guy that guy is presumably stuck, and here he is looking at him in the mirror. Okay, so this guy's taking the frame. What's he going to do with it? Right? We don't know. Is he going to use it as a weapon? Is he going to use it as some, maybe he's going to take it apart and try and use it as some sort of lever device to get the guy unstuck, right? Again, we just don't have all the facts. Okay, so right now, what are you thinking, right? Like maybe he's using these as like a full body handcuff, right? Maybe the guy in the red was the burglar, right? And he was trying to escape, and this guy didn't want him to escape, right? This guy in beige with the long hair. So maybe he's put this on him thinking, oh, this will stop him until the authorities arrive, right? Or maybe this guy kidnapped the guy in red and he doesn't want him getting away, so he's put this on him to stop him, and when he gets tired, he's going to grab him. We just don't know. Okay, now we've got our third person, third and fourth. There's two people here. But you know what? That's an assumption of me. Yeah, right? I want to assume that this is a kangaroo and her cub. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what a Joey. I think they're called a Joey, right? Let me know if that's right or wrong. So we've got two new people here, right? Unless this is maybe one person and a stuffed animal. Maybe it's one small kangaroo and a really intricate robot, right? Like a mech, a kangaroo mech. We don't know yet. What we do know is that they've seen the person in red, and that's it. Okay, and now either the small person. Okay, so we know this isn't a stuffed animal anymore, right? Because it's articulating all on its own. It would have to be a sentient robot, and even though we don't want to jump to assumptions most of the time, that's a pretty fair assumption to jump to that this isn't a sentient robot, I think. So they're gifting this person in red some flowers. Now, why are they doing this? Do they think this person is about to pass away, right? Sort of a last rites. Maybe this is a religious thing. Maybe it's just a friendship thing. Maybe one of these two has history with this person in red and they want to say goodbye in like a meaningful, metaphoric kind of way. Then again, maybe they're hoping he's going to eat these and they're poison. And they either want to put him out of his misery or they want to induce misery. Maybe it's a slow acting poison. You know, there are a lot of poisonous plants in the world. Okay, so then we're back inside, and again, we're not sure it's this guy's house. We don't know. This guy, for all we know, the red guy could have kidnapped him, and he could be stuck in here. And he could. We don't know how much time has passed. This could have been days. This could have been weeks. This could have been months. We don't know the guy in the red shirt how long he can survive without food and water. Right? They don't look like humans, so we can't do the math based on that. And we haven't even seen them drink any water, and we haven't seen this guy eat at all. We don't know their nutrition requirements, so we can't judge the time based on that. Like, it'd be nice if we could. Here's the thing: the hat hasn't moved at all, but all this stuff has. How long does it take to get this board moved in a different position? Where did he get these limbs from? Were they inside this what seems like a tree, or did he go outside and pick these sometime? What about all this stuff? Was this already there? Maybe he went to like a farmer's market and picked some of this up, a flea market. We don't know. Okay, so why did he draw this face on this guy's backside? That's kind of weird, right? Like, did he get consent to do that again? We don't know. If he didn't get consent, don't you think it'd be weird if someone drew a giant face on your backside? I mean, I wouldn't be happy if someone did that. Especially, you know, I wouldn't be happy in any situation where they did that. But if you were restrained and they did it against your will, that's some scary line of thinking, right? But again, maybe he did give him permission. We don't know. Okay, so we know that guy just, the guy in the red, knocked all that stuff off him. Now, did he do that as an act of defiance? Maybe he kept telling this guy not to put that stuff on him, right? Like, hey, I know I'm stuck, but I don't want that stuff on me. Stop it. And this guy didn't stop, and he kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it. And then finally, this guy had enough. That could be one option. Maybe another option is this guy wanted to teach this guy a lesson, and he was doing that classic mafia move. Oh, it'd be terrible if something happened to all your stuff. This guy didn't listen, and then so he followed through and broke all his stuff. We don't know. I guess we could take a look at the items, right? He's got a pot with a flower on it, what looks like sort of an animal food bowl, an umbrella, a pipe, a candle, a whole bunch of matches. Why does he have so many matches? Well, I guess he does have 3 candles, but that seems like a lot of matches to me. I don't know what this pink thing is. And he's got a box, and there's the picture frame that may or may not have been used as a restraint device. And then maybe a letter and a pan that are for some reason the same color. Okay, so all this stuff's broken. Again, we can't say for sure why the red guy did it. We know the red guy did it. That's something we can say. That's not an assumption. That was physics, right? We don't know why he did it. We can tell this guy doesn't look happy, right? You have to wonder why he saved the items he did, because that's a make or break moment. Your adrenaline's pumping. You only have time to save so much stuff. It's like that question, if there's a fire, what item are you going to grab, right? So he grabbed the picture frame. Again, is it a restraint device? Maybe he's thinking he needs to get that back on the guy in red as soon as possible because he doesn't want him to leave. We don't know. A candle, and it's either a vase or an umbrella. Okay, but then he ended up dropping everything but the picture frame. Again, is it a restraint device? You have to wonder, because he seems very hung up on the picture frame. Okay, so we faded to black there. That wasn't me. Now, the honey is still in the back, right? The honey is still in the back. I want everyone to notice that, since this video is about the honey. Again, it seems to me like this bowl right here seems to be full of honey, right? It doesn't look like it's been emptied at all, and that would be a lot of honey. That's not a small bowl. And all of these other things, like, it looks like this bowl, this vase on the side is on its side, and you know, if there's a 1/4 inch of honey all the way to the back of that thing, that's a lot of honey there. Same with this one right here. And again, earlier we've seen it spelled with H-U-N and H-U-N-N, and this one's spelled H-O-N-E-Y. So maybe these aren't all honey, right? Or maybe they're different types of honey. Maybe some's fake honey, or maybe they're code words for something more nefarious. We don't know. We don't have enough evidence. We haven't taken these to a lab and run them through a mass spec like this is NCIS or something. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to make an assumption, right? And I've been talking about how you shouldn't do that, but it seems like some time has passed. Now, he could have just gone off screen when it faded to black and grabbed a robe, but he looks more tired, but we can't say that for sure. We have no concept of time right now. Again, all these jars are still on the same place, or in the same place. So it could be that no time has passed, or, you know, seconds, or again, days, weeks, or months, and they're just not cleaning up after themselves. And another thought that just occurred to me, is this the only way out of this house, or is there another way out? Can this guy get out, or is he stuck in here, right? Is he being held captive against his will because the guy in red got stuck? They could be partners in crime who burglarized this house and got caught on the way out, and this guy has just been like stuck in this shelter for however long they've been there. Again, we don't know. So again, he's touching this other guy's backside. Now, without the audio, we don't know that the guy in red told him he could do that or not. And we don't know their relationship. They could be friends, they could be family, they could be lovers. Maybe the guy, maybe this is a soothing touch, right? Maybe this guy is stuck in here, but then this guy's also stuck in the exit hole door, whatever you want to call it. And if they've been stuck in there for a really long time, since we don't know the concept of time, maybe this is a pat of, hey man, I've got your back, literally. You know, I'm still back here and I'm here for you. Or maybe it's a pat of, hey man, I'm actually dying in here. There's no other food or water than honey, and I'm very dehydrated. And if we don't get out of here soon, I might pass away. And I just wanted, maybe he does this every morning when he wakes up to let the other guy know that he's still alive. And then the day that he doesn't get up and do this, the guy in red will know, oh, the other guy's gone. But those are just assumptions. Those are basically stories at this point, right? It's fiction. Okay, so that guy just got pushed forward a little bit, right? We saw some damage done, right? If this isn't either of their houses, they've now done some damage aside from breaking all the vases and stuff earlier, they've now done some structural damage. But if it is one of their houses, then that's a problem for another day, and I doubt their insurance will cover it. But that would be on the lower end of the problem scale, right? Okay, this guy's taking off his robe. Is he a nudist? Right? You assume he's not a nudist because then he wouldn't be wearing the robe at all. So he was wearing clothes and he's taken them off. With all of the touching we've seen so far and where the touching has been located, the fact that this guy has taken off his clothes and gotten really excited, you can't make assumptions, but at the same time, at some point, you have to start making assumptions to solve problems if you can't get all the information. I would be a little concerned in this situation. He's removed his clothes. He's just touched this guy possibly inappropriately. What's going to happen next, we don't know. But, if you could get here, this would be a point where you'd want to step in and ask the guy in red if he's okay with whatever this guy's been doing or is about to do or try to do. Okay, so we just learned there is another exit, right? So if they have been stuck here a long time, at least this guy's been able to get out. That begs the question, though, the guy in red, why hasn't this guy called any of the authorities? I don't know what his house is made out of, right? But the jaws of life can do a lot of damage, but in a good way in this situation. They could have gotten him out of there the second the firemen arrived with him, right? So you have to wonder if he's hoping the guy in red won't get unstuck. Maybe he wants the guy in red stuck. Maybe the guy in red, again, is the victim here. Maybe he's not the guy that broke in, and maybe he wasn't stealing honey. We don't know. Maybe the guy in red was a kidnap victim, right? And he's trying to get out, and this guy just saw that the foundation was changing, and he's running out here to, try and push him back in or constrain him in some way. Maybe he's desperately trying to make sure that guy doesn't get out. Okay, so see here, he's got a pretty different look to him, right? And you can't judge people on their looks, right? You can't judge a book on its cover, but I don't know, with all the touching and the undressing, this would concern me. As a third-party bystander, this would concern me after his previous actions. Okay, so now we've got some more people here. The other guy is gone. We're going to go ahead and call that guy Rabbit, but again, we can't assume that that's his name. This guy in red could be a rabbit. This person in yellow could be a rabbit. This person in brown could be a rabbit. This person in gray could be a rabbit. It could be a name, or they could be like Pokemon, but, there's more than one Pikachu, and there could be more than one rabbit, right? Maybe that guy's name is Bunny. Right now, we don't know. So let's break this down. The guy in gray is biting the person in brown. I guess I shouldn't say he's a guy. He could be a girl. He's got a cute little bow tie. I'm going to call him by... No, it'd be wrong to call them by their colors. I need a way to reference them. So... gosh, what can I name them? Okay. He's going to be the drummer because he has a drum, right? This guy, if I call him Honey Guy, then if there is a court case about this could affect the jury. If he goes by Honey Guy, people are going to assume he was stealing the honey that way, right? You don't want to do that. That would be unfair. So I can't call him Honey Guy, and I guess I can call him... I'm going to stick with Tagonist. That's a good name for him, I think. So we've got Tagonist, drummer. We're going to call this guy at the end Bo because of the bow tie. Oh, I keep saying guy. It could be a girl. I'm sorry. We're going to call this creature at the end Bo. And then this person here, right, that my mouse is over. I don't know if it's actually capturing my mouse or not. But this person or creature, whatever. So we have to assume the similar looking person wasn't a robot, like I said. I think that's not too far-fetched to say at this point, right? that person's gone, so we don't know what's up with that. All we know for sure now is that they don't always travel together. I still need a name for them. I loathe to give them a name based on their physical appearance, since you can't control your physical appearance very much. But I'm going to call this person Tails, okay? Because they've got a pretty cool tail. And only at this point, we only see 2 people with tails. And like I said, this other person is going to be named Bo. So I'm going to call this person Tails. So Bo is biting Tails, right? So in this still image, you have to wonder if Tails is okay with that, right? Obviously, the knee-jerk reaction is they're all just trying to pull this guy out, but again, that's a knee-jerk reaction. We can't say for sure. And we don't know why they're trying to get him out of there. Maybe this guy is, I don't know, it could be something super far-fetched, like he has nuclear launch codes or access to a vault full of diamonds, and they're trying to get him out to get those things for him. We don't know. They could just be trying to save him. They could be good neighbors or friends. They could be passerbys. There could be a highway just off the screen. These people could all be strangers just trying to help out. Okay, so again, Bo is biting Tails. We don't know if Tails is cool with that or not. Tails, I can't imagine it would feel good to have someone bite down on your tail, but I don't have a tail. Maybe it does. I don't know. And Tails, right? Again, the first assumption, they're all trying to pull this guy out. But what if this, what did I name this guy? Drummer? What if Drummer is the only one trying to help Red, right? And Tails and Bo are working together to steal this drum, right? And Drummer's trying to get Tagonist out to help him to fend these guys off. Maybe there's something valuable inside of this, even though it looks like a drum. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like a really good container like they use for organ transplants, right? Again, we just don't know. We don't know what's in this drum. We don't even know that it's a drum, but maybe these 2 are trying to steal it. Okay, so we're back on the inside. This guy's run back around. He's definitely pushing on this other guy. Again, you have to wonder why all these jars of honey are still here. Why haven't they been cleaned? If this guy can get out, why hasn't he done something with these jars? How much time has passed? We don't know. Has any of this honey hardened? Where are all the bugs? If this is indeed honey, it makes you wonder if it is. You know, I've said before, multiple times now, maybe this isn't even honey, right? And you have to imagine if any time had passed, since there are so many openings to the outside at this point, why are there not bugs all over this honey? If this was really honey and any amount of time had passed, there would be bugs all over this honey. It makes you wonder. It makes you question things, right? And that's good. You should always question things. Again, pulling on the tail doesn't seem very helpful to me. I would think from a structural perspective, right? I don't know Tails' anatomy, right? And I don't know Tails' anatomy. I don't know if there's bones in here. I don't know if there's nerves in here. But this person seems bigger. Bo seems bigger than Tails, right? I have to wonder if what is more likely to happen would be a tear somewhere where the tail meets the body, right? You have to wonder, you know, earlier I said, where was that scene? I'll go back. Okay. Earlier I was saying in this scene, you know, we don't know for sure if they're all friendly, they're all mean. Maybe Drummer is the only nice one. And earlier I said, what if these 2 were working together? But what if they're not? What if this guy is trying to stop this guy from stealing this? I'm using guy as a generic descriptor. Could be a girl. I don't know. They could have different genders than humans for all I know. But this shirt, seeing that future clip right here, right? This doesn't seem very helpful to me. This, to me, right, seems more like an attack. So maybe this guy's in it for himself, right? We don't know. Sure doesn't seem like he's trying to help to help Tails, though, because this definitely feels like an attack to me. Look, the end of the tail's already gone completely limp, right? You would think if this was like a real tail, that wouldn't look like that unless something was wrong. And this guy seems pretty dedicated to ripping that tail off, I would say. Again, that's just an assumption, though, and I'm going against my own line of thought there. I shouldn't assume this guy's the bad guy. That's on me. He could be trying to help, and I mean it's a leap, I think, because it would do a lot of damage right here where the tail meets the body. But maybe he is trying to help somehow. And again, that guy is just smashing into this guy's backside. He doesn't look very happy here, does he? So you have to wonder if he even wants that other guy doing that. Personally, I understand other people might be into it. I wouldn't want some guy elbowing me back there like that. Okay, so that was a big moment. I'm gonna go back. I wonder if I can slow playback speed or something. Video playback speed. Let's go slower. We're at 0.67, okay? We're doing this in slow motion. Okay. Drummer has fallen, right? The drum also seems bigger now, right? It looked a lot smaller earlier. Drummer's gone, or drummer's fallen, sorry. The guy we're gonna call Rabbit, but we can't say that's his name or that this is his house. What's he doing with his hands right here, right? Is he trying to push the guy in red further away? Or is he scared? Is everything falling down on him right now? And he's trying to grab he's trying to grab Tagonist's feet to make sure he can't run away, right? Again, Tagonist, we don't know that he's the honey thief. He could be the victim here, and the other guy could be trying to grab him, okay? We don't know. I'm gonna slow play back just a little bit more. Okay, now we're at half speed. I think that should be good. Drummer seems to have fallen. If this isn't a drum and there's something in it, you have to wonder, why is it not falling at the same speed he is? And is he concerned that it's falling at all? If there's something valuable in there, you would think even just a knee-jerk reaction, you'd want to grab it. So it could be empty. It could just be a drum. But how many people just carry drums with them? And also, if he has drumsticks, where are they? But he could have them. They could be in his shirt or something. I wouldn't hold it against a person to just carry a drum around without drumsticks. But I would have questions, right? Especially in a possible situation like this where this person may have been held against their will. Okay. Drummer has fallen. Now this is interesting, right? In this scene right here, this is interesting. There are now two drums. I didn't see two drums before. Maybe you did. If you did, let me know in the comments. There are now two drums, two separate, distinct drums. Maybe one's a decoy. Maybe there is something valuable in one of them. Maybe this is an Ocean's 11 Italian job situation, and someone's doing a switcheroo right now, and we weren't supposed to notice this, right? But it was caught on camera. And there's a switch out happening, because there's definitely two drums right there, right? And then this guy, what's going on with him? He's real squished up. You kind of have to wonder about his anatomy now. Okay, again, this is further after that last moment, and now he's real stretched. Why is he so stretched out? He got contracted, and now he's expanded. You know, what is the air pressure and gravity situation here? Okay, that guy flew very far, right? How strong are these creatures? I was operating under the assumption that they were near human strength, but if they have this kind of strength, that's concerning for a whole lot of reasons. And another thought, you have to go back to when Bo was pulling on tails. If Bo has 1/4 of this strength, since there were 4 people pulling on this guy in red, if he was pulling that strong on Tails' tail and there were no injuries, you would have to assume that not only are they very strong, they're very tough. I mean, they could be like Avengers Justice League tough. Okay, I hit play, but nothing's happening. Okay, so I went back a little bit. You know, it could just be my video player. Maybe it doesn't like the 1 speed. I'll go back up and turn it back to normal speed. We'll go to normal. Okay, again, this guy gets squished and then expanded. This guy goes flying. Most people couldn't throw a baseball this far, let alone a creature. Okay, then we have, again, we can't assume, really, we shouldn't. But in a situation like this, you have to make some assumptions, right? When there's this much on the line, this much at stake, when people are this concerned, there's money involved. Eventually, you have to start making some assumptions. And I'm going to assume these are bees, right? They look like bees. Well, they don't really look like bees, though. A lot of them are solid black, and most bees I know aren't solid black, right? And it doesn't look like any of them have stripes. There's a lot of them, though, right? Assuming each of these dots, and they're all different sizes, assuming each of these dots is a creature or an insect, there is a lot of them. They're very good at moving in unison. And that's really all I can say about them right now. If they are bees, Arby's, like the restaurant, you know, wherever they are, since like I said, the gravity, either the gravity is weird or their strength is weird. Maybe the bees at this place are just different than the bees we're used to here on our Earth. Okay, so right now, we want to make the assumption, right, that this is the same guy that's stuck again. We don't know that, though, right? That's what I'm trying to prove here. We don't know, okay? You don't know. You think you know, but you have no idea. This could be an entirely different creature that just looks similar to that other guy. Like I said, in the other thing, there's more than one Pikachu. There could be more than one of these golden bear-like creatures, okay? If we get to see inside this tree, he could have a blue shirt right now. He could have a purple shirt. He could have no shirt. I keep saying he. This could be a she, right? Maybe we go in and instead of a shirt, there's a dress, right? Or maybe the top half of this thing isn't even similar at all to the previous creature we've seen. Maybe we go in and it's, I don't know, a cat or a tiger, which I guess is a cat, or an owl, or a gopher, or a pig. Could be anything. We don't know who this is, what this is. This could be a stuffed animal. This might not even be a person, right? We're just assuming it's the same character, and we shouldn't do that. Okay, so now we just have to assume we're on the other side of the tree now. Now we're at the crux of the issue, right? Here's the honey. There's honey at the beginning, there's a lot of stuff in the middle. Now we've ended up with a real honey problem, right? This is probably what everyone's talking about. I haven't watched the Markiplier video or the Hank Green video or the video that caused all this. I know it blew up Reddit and everything. I have to assume it was either the beginning when he was eating all the honey, right? Is the problem that he stole all that honey? Or was it his honey? Is the problem that he's addicted to it? And, you know, those addiction series on like TLC are really popular. Is that all it is? All it is. Addiction's not all, right? It's a serious issue. Maybe he's addicted to honey and the guy was trying to have an intervention. Maybe he stole the honey from that guy. Maybe they were making fake honey. Maybe this was all a scam, right? Maybe that's what's in the drum is the recipe for their fake honey, right? Maybe they're making something other than honey, something to get people addicted. Maybe it's a new honey, right? Maybe it's a recipe that's worth billions. We don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched any of the other videos on the honey situation. I've just kind of seen the titles, but I have to assume it was either that first scene where we don't know what was happening, or maybe it was the fact that those honey jars could have possibly been there for so long, assuming any time has passed. Maybe this is a story about how insects are in decline, right? Because we saw no insects going after the honey that could have been there for a while. Or maybe it's this scene. This would be a very large beehive, right? This is, you have to assume this image from earlier, assuming that's the same tree, right? And there, I didn't see this earlier, all the bugs came out of this tree. We can assume they're bees because we know there's honey in that tree. We can't say for certain without capturing one of them. But we're going to assume they're bees. It's a very big beehive. Here's the thing. When we go forward, it's much bigger than it looks from here, right? Knowing the size of this creature that we've seen in the past, we know he should only go forward, you know, a foot and a half, 2 feet, right? Which would be the end of this tree, right? But since we've already seen inside of it now, we have to assume that in this video, there's a depth perception, something going on. And this tree is much thicker going, you know, away from the camera, right? It has to be a very large tree. Because when we go forward again, okay, that's more than 2 feet in front of him, right? So he's sticking out that backside, and as we saw, it looked like there was only a foot or so of tree left, but there's obviously more than a foot of space in here. The volume of this space is disproportionate to what that video showed. So now, you know, it's getting a little conspiracy theorist here. Tinfoil hat time. How much of this video has been edited, right? Deepfakes have gotten so good. AI has gotten so good. What if part of this video is a deepfake, right? What if this wasn't really him in this tree? What if it was someone else and they're framing him since he was stuck in that other situation, right? Maybe, like I said earlier, this is a tiger. And the tiger is the one getting a hold of all the stuff that we think is honey. But the tiger has a techie friend, right? Maybe an owl. And the owl's good with computers. And maybe that owl created a deep fake to throw us off the tiger's trail, right? And like I said, they already knew this guy had an addiction to honey, right? In this line of thinking. And they deep faked him because he's an easy mark, right? Because something's not lining up. The outside of this tree does not line up to the inside that they're showing us. So either someone is editing 2 clips of different trees together, or someone's deep faked this. And we have to wonder, if this guy is now the victim, right? At the very beginning, it was very easy to assume he was the perpetrator, wasn't it? That was the first reaction. Everyone was going, this guy's stealing honey, right? Or he was gluttonous and had an addiction. But either way, he seemed, as the central character, to be the antagonist. But like I said, I didn't want to call him that because we didn't have all the information. To me, right now, this seems very sketchy. This seems very deep fakey since it does not match at all that previous scene. This right here, does not match this at all. This is a huge cavern full of what we've been assuming is honey. Maybe it's not even honey. Maybe wherever they are, this is like an oil equivalent or a gold equivalent, right? And maybe someone else stole all this and is framing this guy. We don't know. I think it's honey because all those other videos have honey in the title, and what else could it be about? You have to wonder why all those bees left. If these are in fact bees, and this is in fact him inside of this and not an AI thing, usually bees attack, right? I've been stung by bees multiple times, and I've never known them to fly away like that, especially when you attack their nest. So that's something else that's kind of weird about this. Were those bees even real? Remember, we talked about how they don't actually look like bees, right? These don't look like bees. At least bees on our world. These are much blacker than normal bees. The sizes don't really line up either, right? So now we have to wonder, since we're already on the is this AI generated train, we have the discrepancy between the outside of the tree and this, and now we have to wonder if all those bees were fake, right? So if those bees were fake, who knows if any of this is real? This whole scene could have been artificially generated with how good those have gotten lately. It really makes you wonder, right? What's real and what's not real? But again, that's a little conspiracy. I feel like it was a conspiracy theory when I started, but now thinking on it, the difference in size and the bees, it doesn't really feel like a conspiracy theory anymore. Let me know what you think. I'll go ahead and indulge a different line of thinking. It's good to have a sort of dichotomy of thought in your heads. I don't feel great about doing it, but I'll indulge it. If this guy was the perpetrator earlier, if he was stealing that honey, whether he was just a simple thief or if he was in cahoots with that other character, or if he was stealing from him, we don't know if he was doing it just because the value of honey, because honey can get pretty pricey, especially if it's good honey. You know, that's not something to scoff at. Sure, there's that little bear in the grocery aisle, but good honey can get really expensive. And that was a lot of jars of honey. That could have been worth hundreds of dollars. This could be worth thousands of dollars. We don't know how deep this is, but considering how high he was up in that tree, but again, the tree doesn't match this. So I don't know. We don't know how deep this pool of what we're assuming honey is. That's the only assumption I'm really feel safe making because of the other video titles. This could be an inch deep. This could be 100 feet deep. This could be like a deep vein of very expensive honey. We have no idea. Certainly kind of looks like a vault to me, right? Or like a treasure cave. If this was in Aladdin, right? It could be inside that magic sand lion thing. Certainly doesn't look like the inside of a tree to me. I mean, look, it's got columns. I got off on a tangent again. It's real hard for me to paint this guy in it because I feel like he's probably the victim, but I have to follow through on the train of thought. Maybe he was the bad guy. Maybe he was robbing that other guy. And that's why he was trying to grab him, right? Earlier I said maybe it's because the other guy was the bad guy, but maybe this was his getaway plan, right? And he got away with it. And even though we think the first thought is, oh, he's stuck in that tree, maybe he's not. Maybe this is another maybe we missed a sort of fade to black, and this is his stash, right? This is his vault of honey. Because, like I said, this does not look like a tree to me. The columns, the size, something is not adding up. I still think it's been doctored, but if it's just been edited in the sense of being doctored, maybe this is the usual suspects kind of thing. You think he's a small time guy, but he's actually the mastermind, and this is his vault. Like I said, this could be 100 feet deep of this honey that could be very expensive. We don't know. And I guess that's probably where I'm going to leave it. You know, all those people made all those videos, and look how liquidy that is. I know I said I don't know much about viscosity earlier. Again, that's making me think honey may be a code word for something more, right? Like I said, this could be much more nefarious than honey. That is very liquidy. I think if you had a pool of what we consider honey, it wouldn't flow like this. It wouldn't splash like that. I think something's going on, right? Again, is it doctored? I don't know. Is it generated? I don't know. Is it honey? Here's the big thing. Is that honey? I don't know. And neither do you, right? And neither does anybody else on YouTube. And if they tell you they'd know for sure, they're scamming you. They're grifting you. They want your money because they don't know what's going on, okay? They have no idea. They can't say for certain what this is, right? They can't say for certain what this is, right? Just because it says honey on the side, that doesn't mean it's honey, right? How many people have boxes in their garage or their attic that, you know, maybe they bought a vacuum, right? And it says vacuum and it says all the features of that vacuum, but what they've stored in there is DVDs, right? Just because it says honey on the outside doesn't mean it's honey on the outside or on the inside. Just because it says vacuum on the outside doesn't mean it couldn't be DVDs on the inside. We don't know that this is honey, okay? We don't know that this is honey. It sure doesn't seem like honey to me. So we've got a lot of logical leaps, I would say, with this honey situation. The trees don't line up. The timing is very suspect. What about these guys? Right? They show up, right? He's got one drum, and then later on he's got two drums. Are they helping each other? Are they hurting each other? Who are those guys? Right? You have to wonder what their part in all this is. And of course, there's this guy. What was he up to? He took off his clothes. There was what I would consider a lot of inappropriate touching. What was his part, right? And this guy, again, he's the antagonist. We don't know if he's the protagonist or antagonist. Was he a victim in all this? Is he being set up? Is he being framed? Is he the mastermind? Is this all the honey he's taken? And again, is this something other than honey? I think that's something probably a lot of the other videos maybe not even touched on. They may have not dug as deep as I did. You know, I got really into this. Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway right now needs to be, is this even honey? Okay. I want you guys to think about that for yourselves. You know, and if you find some more information, post some links. Let us know what you find. If it's a credible source, okay? We don't want hearsay. We don't want third party, oh, I saw this, or my uncle knows, my uncle works at Nintendo kind of stuff, right? We don't want that. We want hard evidence, okay? We need to know who these people are. We need to know if any of them were trying to escape authority, if any of them were victims of other crimes. We need to know where all this honey if it is honey, came from, right? When you know how much time has passed, there's just a lot we don't know. I don't know it. Nobody else knows it. So there's just, as far as I'm concerned, everyone making videos on this should have published something like this as the title. We don't know what's going on. Okay. Nobody can say for sure. There's not enough footage. Okay. This is, I know I've spent a long time on this. This is only 2.5 minutes of footage, right? And a lot of it is unusable. And what about these people? Where'd the little person go? Right? We don't know. Right? What was up with the flowers? You know, it's unsolved mysteries. People, what in this rope? Again, what was with this rope? I feel like between this scene and, you know, this scene, a lot happens and it's been cut out. It feels like a lot of footage has been misplaced or purposefully destroyed. Okay. Was it intentional? I don't know. But I feel like there's a lot of information missing when you go from this to this. Something happened there. Okay, where did this rope come from? What was it needed for? Who was using it? Were they using it? What were they using it on? There's a lot of not even gray area there. It's unknown area, right? It's completely questionable. I find a lot of this questionable. Like I said, the guy taking off his clothes, this guy possibly assaulting this person, the 2 drums, and then this final image. I'm going to leave you with this final image again, and I'm just going to really drive it home. We don't know what this is showing, okay? It's very easy for us as viewers, right? As internet detectives, armchair detectives, with all the Netflix specials and true crime podcasts, it's very, very easy for us to make assumptions. But we shouldn't do that. We don't know what that is, where that is, who that is. You know, they always say ask when, why, where, and how. Well, the when we don't know. We have no concept of the passage of time from when this started. And there's obviously been parts of the video that have been cut out, like the rope thing. So we can't answer when. We can't answer why. The where that we can answer is Rabbit's house. What we can't answer is the where of this, because we cannot say for sure that this is actually inside that tree. Again, I personally, I'm now, during the filming of this, I've convinced myself it's been doctored. This is, from my perspective, too big to be the same tree. I think something has been doctored or edited in a framing way to make it seem like this is the same person in the same tree. But that's my 2 cents. And how, again, the how that I'm stuck with is if this is the same person in the same tree, how did they throw him up there? The physics don't line up to me. The musculature of those creatures doesn't seem like they could get him up here, assuming Earth-like gravity. The why is obviously completely unanswerable. So we can't answer any of the who, what, when, where, why, and how. And if you can't definitively answer those, if you can't answer, you know, 1 or 2 of them, that's sketchy. If you can't answer any of them definitively, that's a real problem, okay? I think there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. And I think no one can say for certain what happened with what we just watched. This was far from definitive. There are more questions than answers. We just can't make assumptions. We can't even assume who the good, quote unquote, good guys and bad guys are, okay? We don't know who the victims are, the perpetrators. We really don't know anything. I think all of these videos I've heard about but haven't watched, obviously, are jumping the gun unless they have access to video that I don't have access to, that I couldn't find online. This is all I could find, okay? These are the only angles I could find. If they're working off the same video, I think it's almost irresponsible for them to be making any snap judgments, if I'm being honest. But if they have, maybe that's why the story blew up. Maybe this was all that there was available for a while, and they've somehow got access to something I couldn't find. I don't know. But I'm going to leave you with this. Stay curious, okay? Always stay curious. Curiosity is great. It didn't kill the cat, okay? Stay curious. Be positive. Let me know in the thoughts what you think happened for real, and I'll take all tinfoil. Okay. Don't present tinfoil evidence, but if it's just your thinking, I'm more than happy to hear you out. And if you have any concrete evidence, feel free to link that below, and maybe I'll follow this up. Other than that, I've got to do the usual sign off. Be excellent to each other and party on.